Besem Ab, Weweld, Melkesedeq, Ahadu Amlak. Brother Ras Yesai Gad made a very interesting comment, and I want to share it with you. I hope Brother Ras Yesai Gad doesn't mind. He says, yes, well, it just popped into my head. Something interesting. See, Yadon posted a video, but it didn't go into great detail that every Ethiopian king, after they ruled, they would go take this vow or priesthood thing. Again, I may be wrong. I'm just going off memory here. Anyways, and that Haile Selassie the first, or Haile Selassie I, made a quote transformation end quote into AbbaQiddus. Sorry if the spelling is wrong. Well, I was just wondering if you could maybe post a detailed vid about that, or just point me into the right direction into learning it for myself. This issue is of the most importance to me and has been bothering me for a bit. And now that I remember to send this message, please, and thank you, brothers and sisters, may Jah guide and protect you along your way. Rastafari. Well, give thanks for that message and for bringing up the subject matter, and even reminding me and reminding us to go into a little more detail about that. But as you know, it's necessary to present milk before getting into the meat of the matter, and this is what we have sought to do to the best of our ability presently. Now that you have posted this message, we want to point you into the right direction, as well as go into a little more detail concerning this ancient tradition of surviving Ethiopian monarchs, Ethiopian Neguse, Nagast, and Ethiopian I-tation, Ethiopian King of Kings, that after they ruled, many of them would go into monasteries, would devote the rest of their lives, their natural existence, to perfection of their faith and to strict devotion to the principles of God. In other words, you hear about people being so-called ascetics or monks, and you hear about like young people, you know, going off into monastery and being monks and taking vows of, you know, extreme celibacies or chastities. Unfortunately, most, if not all of that, is actually ignorant, it's wrong, and it's actually against the established way of God, because God says from the very beginning, bizu tabazu, be fruitful and to multiply, not just in so-called sexual ways or just procreation. That's one of the ways, but to be fruitful and to multiply in the fullness of their tripartite existence. In other words, in spirit, in soul, and in body. So in the fruit of their spirit, in the fruit of their soul, as well as the fruit of their body. Unfortunately, humanity falling away from God, falling away from the true principles of God, have focused only on 1/3 and have neglected the other 2/3 of the divine equation. And this is what the original sin is really all about. You know what I'm saying? The original sin is not so much what you've been taught and what pseudo and false Christianity has taught. Fake Christianity, actually. It shouldn't even be called Christ or Christianity, but that's what they call themselves. Have taught that the original sin is the fruit, the Garden of Eden, so forth and so on. But what they forget is that what man fell from, he fell from, humanity that is, fell from being in the image and after the likeness of God, and instead have looked towards the animals and the creatures to be the guide or even the gods for them, instead of recognizing the true face of God in their face, the true image of God in their image, and the true after the likeness of God in their likeness. So that's just touching on that part of the equation, so one can better understand why Ethiopian, not just kings, but also Ethiopian, faithful Ethiopian, Tewahedo, Christianos, men and women would have normal lives. In other words, they would get married, they would pursue either a business or a career or some sort of occupation, but along with having a family life, because family is the cornerstone and foundation for the nation, for any nation, and especially for the Chiruyanel, the chosen people, and the chosen nation, and our people, Ethiopian Hebrews, Beta Israel, African Hebrew Israelites at home and abroad. Now there's more to this biblically and scripturally. There's evidence, and there's other academic, scholarly works that touch on various threads of this idea, and you have to actually go into various different books. There hasn't been any book that really has been strictly devoted to this subject matter, at least within the English language. However, Yah willing, we will be able, with your support, of course, the brothers and sisters, be able to publish our own research and studies. Instead of getting in just these video clips, one would be able to study it in book form, reference it to other works, that it would take us very much more time outside of this limited time slot that we have within the YouTube's posts, and even within a full-length video. There's only so much that can be touched on in the word and written form. Much more can be touched on along with the video that can supplement, one can supplement the other. But in the Bible, just the evidence from the Bible speaks about false Gnosticism. It speaks about false asceticism, and this extreme asceticism that many in, like, say, Catholicos and Catholic and pseudo-orthodoxy practice, where you have young people who never have been married, who never have had children, say, hey, I want to be a monk, I want to be, in the sense of, a celibate, I don't want to have children, I want to devote my whole life to God. Yet God has already said to humanity to be fruitful and to multiply, to recognize that they were created in his image and after his likeness. Now, just a little bit more on this point concerning AbbaQiddus and the transformation. I think that's a good subject matter, the particular transformation that all Ethiopian surviving kings and rulers and many of the holy people, the Kedusan, the men and women, the Mitmenan, would also do as they got older, as their children went off to their careers or their occupations, got married and also had children, and maybe if their spouse had passed away, you understand, they would devote their life to the monastery. They would devote their life to strictly to the works of the spiritual church and to church related and Christian related matters. What's very interesting concerning AbbaQiddus, and there's many different points, such as the 120 years, the fact that the Son of Man, LOJ Tafari, was born in 1892. And then when you add 120 years to that, you have actually 2012. I mean, what is the so-called coincidence of that? That's just one point there. There's many other points related to the life and the time of QEDAMAWI HAILE SELASSIE in prophecy. Besem Ab, Weweld, Menfes Kedus, Ahadu Amlak.